Hello there ladies and gentlemen, TX141 here, also known as Paul, welcoming you to an all new World of Tanks gameplay, today featuring my favourite medium tank so far, the Soviet Tier 10 T-62A. Now we'll come on to why I love this medium tank so much a little bit later, but firstly we have to qualify why exactly am I bringing this little World of Tanks series to you. Well, the idea is I'm going to put up a single gameplay per video and provide some tips whilst I'm showing off the game, but the tip of the day at the end of each video. The idea, the most important thing that I learned out of the given match that I played, and how this has allowed me to improve my game a little bit further in future matches. To give you an idea of my background, because to be honest, you see a lot of players on YouTube and indeed on the World of Tanks forums who are absolutely incredible. They are well above average and players who consistently achieve 1,500 experience or more in a single victory without the need for a premium account. I am not one of those players. To me, if I have a good game which is a victory, I'll have earned over 1,000 experience, or that's my target. And if it's a loss and it's a good one, I'll try to make 500 experience or more. Showing my statistics to give you a qualification for that, we can see that my personal rating is 8,276. Now I've been playing this game for just over 4 years. On and off, I used to play it quite frequently in the first 2 years, but as War Thunder came along, my appreciation for this game began to disappear a little bit, and I've started getting back into this thanks to some of you guys and girls, i.e. you guys and girls, the subscribers of this channel. And this personal rating has been accreted through me just playing by myself, playing with some friends from time to time, or indeed with my dad. This has not been as part of me playing as part of a clan at all, so as a result, these statistics are exactly what they say on the tin. They have what I have accreted over time by myself. If you look me up on the WN8 scale or the XVM scale, and by the way I do not use those mods, which I'll come on to very quickly in a minute, if you look me up on these scales you'll see that I'm rated as a great player, with a rating of 2,180 or so. Now the reason I do not have these mods on is because I personally feel if I was to have all these statistics mods on, saying whether I'm going to win the game or whether I've got a high chance of winning, whether I'm the best player on the team or the worst player, it will bias my mindset into going into a given match. And to be honest, I don't need more stuff on the screen. World of Tanks has got enough on its heads-up display, and I absolutely love the vanilla version of World of Tanks. I do not need anything else on my screen in order to try and distract me from the game at hand. So this is why I do not use XVM or anything along those lines. And now we come on to the last little thing, which is why I love this medium tank so much. Well, actually we'll do that in the midst of the game, but to tell you what crew skills I have, my crew at 110% it would seem, or 100% plus the 11 for the rest of the crew apart from the commander. My commander has brothers in arms, as do the rest of the crew, but my commander also has Sixth Sense and is gradually working on the mentor skill. Meanwhile for my gunner, he has repairs and he is working on Deadeye. For the driver we have repairs and is working on smooth ride. And finally the loader has repairs and is also working on safe stowage. You can see here that I have improved ventilation, a medium caliber tank gun rammer, and a vertical stabilizer Mark 1, and I am also bearing the standard array of small repair kit, first aid kit, and a manual fire extinguisher. I'm also carrying 40 APCR rounds, 8 heat rounds, which we're not going to be using any of those, and this is why this gameplay is special to me, and we've also got 2 high explosive rounds. The reason why this game is special to me is because this is the first time I ever achieved a mastery in the T-62A without the need to fire a single heat round. And I found this a really tough game to be honest, but we're going to see why very shortly. To give you an idea, the heat rounds have 330mm of penetration, as we can see by the statistics here, and the APCR rounds per standard have 264mm of penetration. But that's enough about numbers and all that. Let us get into the game for today. For today's game, we are on the encounter version of the map Steppes. We are in the northwestern spawn point, and our overall tactic for the game will be as follows. Push towards the eastern side of the map, break through the flank that covers the encounter flag, and try to get into the southeastern section of the map where the enemy artillery may be located. We are the only tier 10 medium tank on our team, and the enemy team have a single M48 pattern. The enemy team also have 2 tier 9 mediums, the Lorraine 40T and the Type 61, whilst we only have a single T54, although we do have 2 more tier 8 mediums than the enemy team, i.e. the T44 and the T54 model 1951 if I remember correctly. Now why do I say this? Well, because as a medium tank player, and this is one of the key features that I love about the T-62A, medium tanks will be able to get into those forward positions faster than most heavy tanks, unless we take a look at say some of the French heavies. With my ability to maintain a speed of 50 km an hour on flat ground, Thanks to the high top speed of this vehicle, but not the highest of the medium tanks, we're able to get into that forward position towards the encounter flag before most other vehicles, and we're going to see this come in handy in a minute when we intercept the AMX 1357F, the French light tank, another premium one, on the enemy team. The second reason why I love this vehicle, as we come around the corner here, is because of its high fire rate. With a base 100% fire rate in terms of crew level of 9.09 rounds per minute, and we have taken this up to approximately 11 thanks to the Brothers in Arms perk, the improved ventilation, and the tank rammer. Here we take a snapshot of the AMX whilst on the move, the light tank we were talking about earlier. Whilst they are tracked, they unload all of their 6 shots into us from their autoloader, only scoring 2 penetrations, and as they go to move and disappear behind the bushes, we take a guess shot and pick up our first kill. Even if we had missed, we could have pressured them and forced them to essentially lose their ability to stay in cover and knock them out whilst they were reloading on their clip. With the light tank knocked out, it means the enemy team does not have a scouting function, and so as we push up to our second ridgeline, we see the enemy Type 61 come forward, and with their rather long reload time on their 105mm rifle cannon, we can come over the ridge with our poor gun depression being shown here and put a shot into them. We fire quickly enough and pull back to avoid a shot from the Jagdpanzer E100, well, despite the fact they did not aim their shot before opening fire. It would appear as though they were on the move. As we try to come around the ridge, we notice that the Type 61s line up a shot on us, and because we come too close to the ridgeline, we do not have the ability to drop our gun onto the enemy Type 61 thanks to our 4 degrees of gun depression. Our T-54 tanks a shot, at which point we come around the corner and we apply some pressure. The Type 61 comes out and aims at our turret, only damaging our gun but doing no health damage as we put another round into them. But we have to change focus here to the Jagdpanzer E100, who comes over the hill and tries to get into the side of us, but we use our superior manoeuvrability and great acceleration to get around them and track them. They use their repair kit, but the damage has already been done, and we can now get around behind them, and all of our mediums open fire into the back of the Jagdpanzer E100, along with our friendly T-57. We knock out the Jagdpanzer E100 for kill number 2, and with our gun damaged, we are about to take a snapshot at the Ferdinand towards the back. We're going by logic, we need to apply some pressure here, and fortunately we penetrate them, although we do not know where. The third and final reason why I love the T-62A so much is because I believe it has the highest on-the-move firing accuracy of any medium tank, or indeed any tank in the game. And that means I love those snapshots when you're driving on the move at say 150 metres away from an enemy vehicle, and you just continue to open fire and score hits. It's at this point that we decide to take a different approach, changing up our position rather than staying down low, because we want to try and knock out that Ferdinand, who seems to have picked up on us, changing our position, and is looking towards us. We take a shot, but they are aiming in, and as we come out again for another shot, having missed our first thanks to our damaged gun and not aiming in properly, we pull back to see that the Ferdinand shot goes into the rocks. We fire and bounce one off of their frontal hull plate, and we aim a little bit lower, trying to get the shot into where their radio man sits. So their radio operator sits. I'm not very good on my lingo today. We knock out the Ferdinand, as whilst we do have a damaged gun, we have a relatively good accuracy nonetheless, and we push forward once again. This battle is not quite over yet, we've got an M103 to knock out along with the Patton. The Patton is taking fire, and the M103 is more of a target, with a 120mm cannon and a reasonable fire rate. We put one into them, and as they fire once again at our friendly T-57 Heavy, we continue to put the shots in. We see that they are focused purely on the T-57 Heavy on our team, and they knock them out. Or at least do damage to them, as the enemy artillery knocks our T-57 Heavy out, and we continue to put the shots into the M103. They are reasonably fast, but they are not going to be able to get below the ditch line before we put in our kill shot. We take a hit from the artillery, and with their 4-shot autoloader, it means that we've got to continue to reverse and make sure they cannot drop another shell onto us. We zigzag in our reversal, making sure that we do not attract a common line of approach in our reverse, and this means that the final artillery shell misses, and as we come around, we see an FV-215B-183 fire a snapshot at us, and it means that they miss and put the high explosive squash head shell into our tracks rather than into our rear hull. If they had hit us in our back hull, we would have been dead. But this means that we can once again use our overall manoeuvrability in order to charge around them and continue to put shots into them, even when we bounce one at close range off the tip of their turret. We get behind them and put another in, but here we overcompensate and almost put ourselves right in front of their gun. But, much like our medium tank, that tank destroyer has very poor gun depression, and it means we can reverse over the hill, they cannot get the shot into us, and our friendly Tiger II kills them off. We say thank you as a polite player here, and continue to reverse and zigzag to make sure that the enemy batch-out artillery piece cannot drop a shell onto us, whether they are reloading or not. Again, we were quite fortunate there, and we have had some luck playing to our hands, most notably the bounce or just the absorbed damage off of the Type 61 into our gun, the fact that the tank destroyer shell from the FV215B183 hit our tracks, but then again they did not aim in fully, it would seem. And we are going to see once again that we're fortunate to find the artillery right in the corner we expected them to be in, although our luck runs out when we happen to miss our first shot and we draw the attention of the enemy artillery piece. We fire one in and they return fire, landing one right on our turret or right behind our turret, but fortunately for us only knocking out our right track and damaging our turret traverse. We pick up our 5th kill on the artillery piece thanks to our high fire rate, and we come around to look for the AMX-50B. Yet unfortunately for the rest of this game we are not going to find them, meaning that we're going to finish our game with a tally of 5 kills and a good amount of damage to boot. As we can see here once again, we begin to cover a lot of ground very quickly thanks to our overall speed, although we just cannot find where the AMX-50B is. I would personally think they have either hid themselves along the western flank, either 1 or 2 lines, or alternatively they have actually positioned themselves right in the southwestern corner. Although we did not investigate there, and it's probably a good thing, because their 4-shot autoloader may have killed us, meaning that we push back towards the flag just in case a worst case scenario happens and they knock out one of our tanks. With the game over, let us take a look at the post-game stats. Whew, what a hectic game! But we can see it was just enough to obtain 1191 XP and earn our Ace Tanker badge or our Mastery badge for the T-62A. We also picked up the Steel Wall and higher caliber medals in the process. By moving over to the team score, we can quantify the high caliber medal by seeing that we did 5,385 damage in total, demonstrating the pure DPM power of the T-62A's 100mm cannon. By moving in the detailed report, we also know that 27 shots were fired on our behalf, with 26 hitting their mark and 19 going through the armour. We also received 11 hits, with 7 not penetrating, thanks to either low caliber guns such as the 57mm on the AMX 1357F, or the fact that we were able to force shells to go into our track lines, as in the case of the Hess shell from the FV215B183, or we managed to direct shots into the front of our turret, such as that from the Type 61. We also picked up 1,062 assistance damage, most likely due to our detracking of the Jagdpanzer E100 when it tried to charge us, and the FV215B183 when we started running circles around it. We should also note that we earned 56,596 silver credits, with a net profit of 8,301 silver, despite the fact we are using a tier 10 medium tank and at the same time we are not running a premium account. It just goes to show, even on the rare occasions, you can make a profit with a tier 10 medium, despite the fact you are not using a premium account, and you do take some damage. But moving away from our final statistics, what is our tip of the day? My tip for you, by looking at this replay, would be this. When you use a medium tank, you usually push down a flank, such as we did here with the eastern flank, but do not consign yourself to an individual position. We started off in the lower ground and we pressed the advantage, knocking out the AMX 1357F, the Type 61, and luring down the Jagdpanzer E100 in the process. But once we'd pushed that far, we decided to pull back, in order to reconsolidate our position and move up onto the higher ground, and this enabled us to knock out the enemy Ferdinand, before breaking through even further on the eastern flank, knocking out the M103, and securing the victory down that side, and the eventual victory of the game. You can push down at one side of the map, but remember to reposition so that way your opponents will have to second guess where you're going, and also the artillery will have to recalibrate its firing position in order to make sure it can drop shells onto you continuously, as we saw with the Batchat Chatillon 15558, which eventually probably had to turn its turret in order to continue to try and pursue us. But that's all I've got time for today. So, if you've enjoyed this video, why not leave a like, comment or subscribe for future World of Tanks videos on my channel. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and good luck on the battlefield!